Tape's ready when you are.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
All you got to do.
You know what? I'm so OCD.
These are tough times for the OCD person, I have to say.
My God.
I have so much sympathy for the OCD people out there.
I didn't even bring a tissue.
I'll give you what you need.
Okay. Let's wait to see if I cry first.
All right.
Are we on?
Yeah,
Hello, on? Okay. I mean, are we recording on?
Yeah, we're everything.
There's so many things you're going to have to forgive me that you normally wouldn't forgive me.
No? Usually I just hold a grudge?
Well, no, but I mean, usually you don't let me get away with that crap.
Yeah.
It's like a tough love thing in here.
Which stuff don't I let you get away with? I pretty much let you get away with everything so far.
Well, I've been saying to, like this, for example, I find very annoying.
It's annoying, but
Okay.
I'm letting you get away with
Delete.
it. Yeah.
You're willing to get away with that, even
I'm
though
just
you
playing an open hand. I'm letting everyone else see why I'm slow burning.
Okay, what I was doing was... Why is that still funny to me? That's still funny to me. It's still snoozing is still... First of all, the first time, and I don't claim to have invented it, the first time I heard how long were you out for? How long was I out for?
Yeah.
During a conversation. It was the funniest thing I had ever heard.
To date.
First of all, I prepared material.
Did you?
Okay, so
That's
he was
fantastic.
here's one of my jokes.
All right, good.
Well, not really a joke.
Okay. Well, whatever it is, bring it.
Okay. Live from the thing. Hey, hey, banter. Well, how was yours? Small talk. My sister passed away.
Wow, that's what you worked on. Wow. That doesn't give me a chance to feel tender in any way, does it?
No. It trivializes it.
See, but it is. We opened the show with a twist. A lot of people thought mother. I think a lot of people thought mother.
Well, in fact, as we always have a long pitch session.
Sure.
About what we do when we run our rerun. This is the first rerun.
Right.
And so you said maybe we could do something like, you weren't pitching it full on, but something like, not family tragedy, not the one you were thinking of.
I wasn't going to put that much mustard on it. See, that's the thing. I was going to go, we had a family tragedy. Probably not the one you're thinking of.
It still comes off as
softer.
It's softer, but it still comes off.
But you still think that's all worse than ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, my sister died.
Small talk. Try to get into it quickly. Well, no, the other thing.
Well, let me get this out of the way.
Okay.
I'm really sorry, Andy. I know I said this off mic as well, but, I'm really sorry. I didn't understand the hand washing. He immediately went for the hand washing, which was...
No, the talk about the inappropriate behavior. I don't listen normally that well, right? Yeah. But you're trying to tell me you're sorry.
Yeah.
And I have to come up with business. So my attention doesn't waver. Yeah. Let me hold on a second. Whatever he's saying, I got to make sure I don't spread this coronavirus.
This is Annie's second application of the Purell since sitting down 3 minutes ago.
Right. It is.
Good time to be OCD in the city.
I don't imagine if I had the germ thing.
I know.
I was saying I'm breaking all the rules. I think that's what my first bad joke was going to be.
Yeah.
And the rules include commenting about things the listener can't see. Lozenge.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't you have probably docked me before now for this? Get it out of there. If you're saying it's no problem, I'm going to continue.
No, it's especially annoying now that you put a flag on it.
As long as it wasn't a false flag. So.
Sometimes word association isn't the answer.
It rarely is. In fact, you have convinced me to never do an interview ever again for a paper.
Right. What are you doing now?
I'm thinking about. I don't need a tissue. I'm thinking that I might need one. So that's more OCD. Oh, so anyway, we were going to make some illusion. Anyway, you can't make a joke in a lead of a thing. So we went with family emergency.
Yeah.
What we went with, and a lot of people have been saying to me, Andy, if you do talk about it, don't go on and on like you normally do.
Are you Trump now? A lot of people have been saying to me.
Is that what he says? He's going to go, yeah.
I've been hearing.
I've been hearing it.
A lot of people are saying to me, they come up to me and say, sir.
I'm telling you, no, he would argue with death that his sister it was a hoax if his sister dies. All right. That concludes the Donald Trump and my sister routine. No, my sister passed away. And no, that's not what I'm going to do. Thank you for your sincere.
That's okay.
That's what
We're
it is.
past it. We're past
No.
I said it was soup.
You said it with soup, and I know that when I do have stories, they're bad, and this one's no exception. But boy, oh boy, that soup was great. First of all, you're an amazing. I don't care what you want to call yourself, chef, cook. If I go too far in the way of praising you, I'll either overdo it or I'll compare you to Mario Batali or something, and then people won't be able to get that out of their minds.
Right, because I'm a predator.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Andy, I'm not. Put that aside. I'm saying, have you been to Italy? Isn't that the name of his thing?
Yes, or it was, I think.
Italy. They had no questions about him before that restaurant?
Apparently not.
All right. We're not going to do any what me worry or me too jokes based on Mario Batali. But the carrots were perfect size. It totally...
I made chicken noodle soup for Andy. And when I in Jewish tradition, you bring some food over to someone in mourning. I said, can I cook for you? And you actually had an answer for what you wanted, which was delightful. I was happy about that.
Me too, because when someone dies who's close to you, I just want to say for people, if you're saying, look, I don't want to hear about it. My sister was very close to me. But I will say, starting out, that my lovely sister-in-law, Sydney, does not, and she's not trying to put us down, but she's not comfortable with comedy and death.
Yeah.
And I said to her, look, I can't say to you that you shouldn't be that way.
Right.
But it was like, it's not part of her upbringing to go. And so it's so weird because.
One of the great gifts of my family was that.
Right.
Like, and anything was funny any fucking time, you know. Might be inappropriate, but it's still funny. You know?
Well, I think she grew up.
But as like my brother had two wives who came in and were like very startled by my family's attitude.
Oh, by the joking,
by the darkness and the
right.
The frankness, let's say.
Frankness, but and so like I'm not saying I don't make any value judgments about it, but it'd be very hard for me to stay away. I find I can't stay away from it.
It's one of the only things Jews do well.
Right.
Honestly, is attach humor to the worst times in life.
Exactly. I got a big laugh when we were on the speakerphone. My brother was there, and for my mother's 90th birthday, my brother hired an a cappella group.
Yeah.
So...
Sorry.
You already had the joke, right? Yeah, it's already the joke. So they were all discussing how they're going to have a little... See, my sister died on... I mean, how do I do this? Just keep talking off... Do I have to do it in story form or just keep...
Do what you...
Okay.
Scat.
So scat. My sister died last Wednesday, which was a complete shock because I had just seen my sister 2 days ago in New York, and I had flown back Tuesday night. And on Wednesday morning, I get the call, and literally... my brother had to argue with Susan. Not argue, but no. Like, you mean mom, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Because he didn't expect it. And then also my brother told me he was couldn't believe it when my sister's son called to say that mama had died. You mean my mom is dead? So it's like one of those things where that was the real shock to it, was that nobody... How did I get into this?
You're just telling the story.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So we were all shocked, and my brother was like really shocked. It was like, I mean, we're all shocked.
I mean, we should fill it. Your sister was in poor health.
Yes, my sister was.
We never talked about that on the show. We talked about your mom, but your sister was, in fact, in quite poor health in the last several months.
Last several months. In fact, I'll go into that right after this thing. So we're on the phone, and they're going to have a small service back east. Or should we all... No, this is on the day that my sister passed.
You're doing the coronavirus, what should we do?
Right.
Thing.
And, of course, my thing was my first thing was, I guess I'm flying back to New York. But everybody agreed that we should not fly.
Right.
Which was kind of the blessing thing about this, and the kind of, however you want to see it.
It's a blurse, for sure.
It's a what?
A blurse.
How do you mean?
Oh,
yeah, curse. But the fact that...
Yeah, because you're not there is the downside, you know.
But also the fact that had all of this happened...
And the upside, we'll be honest. But
right, but... Yeah. You mean the just how horrible it is to go back?
Yeah.
For the thing.
Yeah.
Right, but the...
There's things you were dealing with the emotional, but you aren't dealing with the nuts and bolts.
And if it all happened several days later... I would never have gotten to see my sister.
No, it was. I mean, there was a lot of grace there. It sounds like
because Susan didn't want
to see her. Your brother got to see her, and
right?
Have a good, meaningful time with her.
So we were on the phone on the actual day that my sister passed, and we were talking about how we all agreed that we all weren't going to fly, but ended up that and Carl, my sister's husband, and Ralph, her son, they did want to have a service. You know, they wanted to have a service and a viewing. And so, we kind of stressed, don't come. If you're old, don't come. You don't have to come and all these kind of things. But at one point I said to my brother, but Rob, don't hire the a cappella group. So that got a very good laugh. Very, very good laugh on the phone. So that was that. But, I wanted to say one thing I wanted to preface the whole story with one thing was that when I left to go see my mom, I was really not doing well, and I got in a big fight online, which I don't even think you knew that I got into this fight that much.
I saw that you got into that one, yeah.
Yeah, and I really would like to make this short because I'm so tired of thinking about it. But basically what I learned was that I don't remember when I went to back east, but I was so...
You went the day after the last show.
The last show, yeah. And I was so freaked out about going there, about the fact that my mother, about half of each day, she's having a great time, but the other half of the day she basically wants to die because she can't stand what the Parkinson's effects are.
Yeah.
So I was worried about my mom, and for a long time, my sister has been in her own at home, not that long, home at hospice care, because she had a whole lifetime of all kinds of illnesses, starting with when she was young and she went on 900 calorie, because I was comparing notes with a friend of mine this last week, and he was saying the same thing about, his parents did the same thing with him. He was a big kid, and they just were like obsessed with his weight. So he was obsessed with his weight, and
right.
my sister, being a woman, was even more obsessed with it. But she had all of these different things that were wrong with her, and then she got that weird thing where she was where she would, and I always forget the name. It's like AVM or something, where arterial venous something malformation. She would start to bleed internally. That's what the terrible things for the last 3 or 4 years were.
Yeah.
She would bleed internally. She'd have to go to the hospital, and they had this machine. It's a rare machine that they can go inside and fix the bleed. And then sometimes they couldn't find it. And she got so tired of that, and then she had heart surgery, which she did not want to have, and which apparently I hear isn't great. Open heart surgery, any heart surgery. She hated it. And then she had one of the valves failed, and they did this thing where they replace it but with a
Go up through the groin. And
yeah,
the
which is
artery.
called I know it's not called angina, angioplasty.
Yeah.
She had it fixed, but then the valve started to fail again, and all of these valve failing, all these things, they're all somehow connected to the whole autoimmune or PTSD or whatever, a whole bunch of things that happened. But the bottom line was she couldn't have any more operations
Yeah.
to fix the valve. So it was her heart eventually that was going to give out,
And that's what ultimately happened.
And that's what ultimately happened. But so that's, then I'll get back into that. But the thing is that I realized that I was scared for my mother and scared for my sister and angry about the election and angry. I think those were the three things that whatever it was that I heard this guy Mehdi Hassan. He's I usually in many ways agree with him. I have problems with how he expresses himself. Whatever. It looked to me that he was making fun of Biden's stammer in a way.
Right.
So, but when I looked back, and he came back so hard at me that you must, and it's like, you are defamatory, that I just got even more mad.
Right.
It took me days until I was rational enough to see that I was wrong in terms of like the stammer part for sure. Like, and I wrote an apology online.
Right. Which I saw.
What's that?
Which I saw.
Yeah. And I did learn, and so I did learn a lot from it. And when I went to New York, I was in this horrible thing already. And it seems like what I do, which I learned was, I think I told you this, and I told my friend this, is like, I have this rage, and then I have misdirected rage.
Right.
And then I have rage that comes from my childhood, from my father, who in many ways was my hero in a way, because he was always in a good mood and he was always hilarious.
Well, he was your father.
And he's my father.
Right.
But he was a very bright man, but whether he intended to or not, he made me feel stupid when we got into arguments.
Right.
So I have realized that I'm angry about the whole thing with Trump, and then somehow I lose, like, not like a serial killer, but
No, but I've learned just from all these discussions that calling you stupid is a real trigger for you, or insinuating you being stupid. Obviously, the thing with Eddie Pepitone was him going.
Yeah, I didn't even, you know why though? I didn't even see it. I did not see that at the time.
Yeah.
That it's specifically
it's
based on someone calling me stupid.
It's like Marty McFly being called chicken in Back to the Future.
But I mean, to right now, I didn't even. That shows how clearly, how you almost want to bury it when you get the rage going. You don't even. You're just mad,
right?
But he said, "You're too funny to be a moron." Isn't that what it was?
You're to be this big a moron, or whatever.
Right? Yeah. I told you when Susan first heard it, because she didn't know the context, she laughed at it.
Yeah. So, because that was why it was like, because it was sort of innocuous.
It was
but
sort
it's
of,
clearly, it's a trigger for you.
Right.
And you see the whole path of it, where it comes from exactly, so.
And the scary part of it is that since my father was such a positive force in my life, because, again, I hope my mother is not going to listen to this. My mother was kind of...
I think we're pretty safe.
My mother was... what are you, hoping that? And my mother was kind of... Well, I've said it many times, she was depressed. So my father was the ray of sunshine. He was the positive force in the family. And he was my hero, because I really thought he was a genius. Because he was very smart.
Right, well, he had 155 IQ. I mean, with 160 IQ, how could a man fail like that? 165 IQ would be an amazing thing, but here he is with 170 IQ.
The guy's got 170, and when you have the state record at 185, meanwhile, since my sister has died, everyone in the family has told me that I have taken an IQ test, and I don't remember what it was. I never had one.
That's a bad sign.
Andy?
If you're over 100, you remember.
Well, that's the first question. Are you aware of what kind of test this is? No. But anyway, right. So the trigger is even more.
Or Kevin Kline and in A Fish Called Wanda, another guy with that same trigger.
Oh, was it the Was that the stammer thing? Because that bothered me.
That was Michael Palin was doing the stammer thing.
Yeah, and that really bothered me. But that's not something.
His father had a stutter, if that helps you.
That does now because we've talked through it.
But that was his trigger. It made him go ape shit if you called him stupid.
Maybe it's also because of how they were calling. I was also enraged because I don't think Biden's going through dementia. So
no, well, there was that big thing that went around, that tape of him.
Confusing his wife and his.
There was a big campaign.
Yeah. So, but that also, I didn't even realize that too gets back to the slam on him was also like, well, you got dementia. It's not that bright. You're not bright.
That's
something.
another one of your fears.
It's another one. Well, it's all in the same wheelhouse of fears.
Right.
So, and I said, I think to you and to, I said, I found out but I did go on Ancestry.com and I did find out that this gentleman, Mr. Hassan, he is not my father.
Yes.
And I've, so all these people are not and when you realize that they are not really your father, it also makes me like, I have to let go of my father either because I made my father into a hero, which ultimately is not good as an adult to want him to be perfect. And so it wasn't a good move or as they say online, it wasn't a good look.
Right. The
way he would belittle me in a way and talk to me. Now, you can't quite understand these concepts, but at the root of everything of what happens after death, what happens, and forget about what happens after death. My whole feelings about spirituality and whatever were all based on him going, come on, you know.
Yeah, knucklehead.
You knucklehead? Why don't you go back into hypnotism when you were, like, imagine if a parent was like slamming their kids over stuff they did when they were 8. Yeah. Smart guy.
Allison's dad would do that. Loved taking mean shots at her and reminding her of, I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Yeah, the heckling. Yeah. Nice to listen to you. You dressed as Spider-Man till you were 12.
Right.
Who better than a parent?
Yeah, I know. You got all the ammo.
Yeah.
It's you're not supposed to use it.
I remember when you ran to a mirror when you were 4, thinking it was...
Once in a while, I can remind Elon of what an asshole he was as a teenager, and we can both look back and laugh now. But.
Yeah. But it's never an easy thing, and the thing is that... So that was so I want to explore this moment because this was a very important moment to me. So I get to New York, and my self-esteem or whatever, or my ability to believe that I'm doing the right thing start to erode.
Right.
Because this is what happened. It's not like I've taken this risk about coming, because I wasn't thinking about the COVID thing until
No, it's just the emotional thing of walking into whatever's going on.
Right, but
at your home. Yeah.
But other people like Susan, who does not want to get the COVID. I mean, she was thinking about it, but she knew I had made the decision to go, and she was for me going.
Right.
But she was also had mixed feelings about it, and so when I get to New York, and I went out for a walk. And it was very cold outside, and I went out to get bagels, and I'm coming home, and I'm going, oh, what if I shouldn't have? What if I gave myself? And it was raining too.
Yeah.
What if it just like it was today? What if I gave myself the COVID-9 thing? Now I should never have come here. So by the time I got home, and I hadn't eaten enough, I was starting to get into I was in a panic attack.
Yes.
And I was coughing, and like trying to vomit, and then I went upstairs, and I don't want to say like. It got so bad I called Josh. But when you feel like you have to call somebody,
yeah,
I think it's natural to go, oh, why am I going to put this on Josh? Do you know what I mean? But I didn't feel that way.
Good.
I didn't feel that way, but I felt like, oh my God, I don't know. It just, I knew I had to talk to somebody.
Yeah, well, you texted me first.
Right.
And I was like, hey, do you want to talk? And it's
Yeah.
it's like rang as I pressed send almost.
And I told you it felt like Montreal, but without there's no stakes, or well, not the stakes.
The stakes were actually higher.
But nothing that I.
But no, by that time you were in this whole complete self-loathing. All of your anxiety had turned into, I hate myself, I'm a horrible person energy.
And I had said to you, I can't forgive myself.
Yes.
And then you said to me, Andy, you're a good person. There's nothing about any of this behavior that makes you a horrible person. And, it's really an amazing thing to hear. It's like exactly what I needed to hear. And it was a type of thing where the toxic part of it is, if I really do believe, like in this case, I did, I got mad when he said I defamed him. When anybody says you're defamatory,
Right,
first
now
of all,
it's like, you're going to sue me too.
right? That's it. And it's like, also, I always want to say, isn't it libel? Or I always want to find another argument, right? But even though I don't, and I can make the argument it wasn't defamatory, and I can even make an argument that just bringing up the stammer, but I knew I was wrong, but not just wrong, unforgivably wrong.
Right.
And you saying that was able to help me tell myself, it's not unforgivable.
No.
And I know that I have to, in addition to apologizing, which I did.
Yeah. Did he respond?
Yes, he did. And
in a generous way?
He responded, and I think a very like, at first I was like, what is he doing? But then I think he did a very restrained way. He said, look, even in light of the fact that you double down and you engage in vicious name calling, I can't argue with any of that. It's just like vicious name. I get into these things like I have a collection of stupid things. Because he called me stupid in the you dolt.
Right,
yeah,
exactly. A trigger. Boink, boink.
He goes, because my argument was you brought up, see, here's the thing, and this is the absolute truth of it, is there were many people, not many people, but let's say 6, 7, 8 people who saw the piece, responded the same way I did.
Right.
And in the course of the fight, like Joan Walsh, who's like a political person who follows me, she even responded that way. But then later she came back and she said she apologized to him because she said Andy went too far.
She apologized for you.
Well, yeah, she said no. She goes, I like Andy, but he went too far. Which I thought was, what do I want? Later I told him. Later I cried. No. So he said, look, in light of that, but I accept your apology. I know how hard it is to apologize on social media, and I appreciate it. No, I think that was really good. That's pretty great. Pretty great.
The double down made me laugh.
I doubled down. He doubled down on his stupid, ridiculous. So that was a big breakthrough for me because I took Xanax. I took Zofran, which is an anti-nausea thing.
Yeah.
And after speaking to you, I was
Thank God you had the Zofran in you.
No. The Zofran was because that's part of the things it's a nasty circle of you don't want to eat anymore, but you haven't eaten enough.
Right.
And then you want to throw it up.
Right.
So, that was really incredible. And that got me. And that's not even when my sister had died.
Right.
But that, said
for that you get soup.
For your good behavior. But the truth is that I'm trying to think of what I can't talk about, and I don't think there's much I can't talk about. My sister had the bleeding thing for so my sister kind of knew. Obviously, she knew that she was closer to going than she was letting on to.
Uh-huh.
But she was the thing that was amazing about her.
You say obviously because she arranged this meeting with your
yes, because we found out certain things in retrospect, like she she has all this money set aside for, it's like her husband's, like, what is it called? Like some kind of a trust fund, not a trust fund, but something that they
trust.
Yeah. So she was asking all kinds of questions to my brother the other day, like, what happens if this, and should he cash that in? And so that was unusual, but I knew because she really was telling me that she wanted my brother's like, it's hard for my brother to deal, unlike me, to deal with death. No, I mean, it's like hard for him. It was very upsetting to him.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of all over the map sometimes. But so he wasn't like committing to, I'm going to go over to Janet's on Monday, but she was telling me, look, I know he's busy. I know he's scared of getting the coronavirus. I know all these things are true.
She was like, get him here.
But she's saying, I want him to come here. She goes, please don't misunderstand me. It's not for me. I wouldn't be mad if he doesn't, but I think he'll feel better if he can see me one more time.
Good for her.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's a pretty good gift.
You know how I'm going to be in a similar situation? Josh, I'm dying. Do something.
Here's my grudge list. I need you to feel this.
Make sure, and I swear to God, make sure this one gets a limb removed. Listen to me. Promise me. Promise me my grudges will not go down in vain. I gave up my career for my grudges.
I will not die. I will not let my grudges die with me.
Name a person you think I've forgiven, Josh. I'll just show you.
No one, Andy. No one.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess you don't know Doug Herzog from Comedy Central, who didn't pick up my show in the same goddamn year that they picked up Comics on Delivery.
Fuck him, Andy. Fuck him.
And South Park. You're blubbering.
Fuck him.
No. Don't you turn bitter.
He's a hack.
Oh, I do remember what I was going to say.
What's that?
At the very beginning of the podcast, I was going to say I've used but I haven't turned it into a hacky bit like Larry David, but I have used it into, if I'm grouchy, I'm in my grieving mode.
Yeah.
Larry David turned that into a whole bit. I'll tell everybody
You gave him the grieving mode?
Yeah, grieving
I can't believe you gave him the grieving mode.
That's right. Well, it's the grieving mode. I'm using the grieving mode.
I can't believe he bought the grieving mode, but...
Can you believe? You know what he did to me at the end?
What's that?
He did the halfway cock the head, look to the left.
Not the halfway cock head, look to the left.
He did. It was a definite
halfway cock head, look to the left is tired. That's so 1987.
He also did the I'm a rich man pull out of the wallet of his money. You know that one?
Oh, the wallet pull?
And Variety. Boffo year. Boffo. I am very, very mature because I am not telling many of the people.
You're stupid.
I don't know, but too soon. Too soon. My sister said to me, Andy, I don't know how much longer I have. Do you understand me, Andy? I'm glad I could get you with that one. Do you? Huh? Oh, God.
It's terminal. That means I'm dying.
You know, Andy, I'm only you know what she said to me, Andy, what makes me happy is that you won't fully be able to understand. So what are we doing? Making fun of people's, we're not making fun of emotional.
No, we're using our own. You can always use your own.
Who laughs like that?
Woody Woodpecker.
And why did people see? I understand why Woody Woodpecker does it.
Yeah.
But why did all my stupid friends when I was a kid have to walk around and go? You can do it. What do they do that? Mel? It's like Elmer Fudd, maybe. They do something with their mouth. Oh no, they do Donald Duck with their mouth.
That is what you hate so much?
I just feel like that's the best you can do?
Yeah.
As a child? But you already have it on TV. Is that what led to the baby impression? Now, that's yours. You come by it naturally.
Yes.
Oh, no. Now you're going to tell me that you
That's
heard.
exactly what I sounded like as a baby.
Jizz. Deals. This is me as a baby. Sleeping. Sleeping. I don't get it. You're a bigot. So anyway, I'm going to keep this part of the just talking about my sister passing. There's 4 more hours of it, so I'll break it up into different parts. So that was the first. The first part was great to see my brother and sister. It was great.
Yeah,
we all went over there. We had Chinese food, and it was really.
Did they get into issues, or did they just decide just be at peace? Like we're made a decision to be at peace, kind of a thing.
Well, the thing is, there's been arguments throughout my entire family at times. Although in terms of regular families,
right?
Why am I comparing it? We're not like the Menendezes. Right. No, not once did me and my brother ever think we'll kill mom and dad. I still love Bill Dwyer.
On a scale from Cleaver to Menendez, where do you fall?
I still love that Bill Dwyer joke about, they say these, when the Menendez brothers were on trial, they say the Menendez brothers killed their parents. Not in those sweaters. They were wearing sweaters at the trial. All right. So, how did I get into this thing about the Menendez brothers?
Your brother and your sister.
Oh, yeah. So, my brother and sister had arguments. I've had arguments. We've all had arguments, but they had they resolved. They had an argument, but they resolved that. They resolved argument. In fact, we had a recent dust up in the family that I won't really go into. But it was. Have I gone into it already?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to push you because.
Yeah. There is. I never get tired of that, although Susan says I absolutely cannot do at all, ever. No more at home.
Yeah.
That's for the podcast.
I can see that.
That's for the podcast.
I can see that.
What was the question you asked me?
I don't know. We're back. They were having a feud. You aren't going to get into it.
Right, okay. And you don't want to hear. All right. No, we had here's what I'll say. We had a recent dust up in the family, and it turns out the dust up really was about being afraid of my mother dying.
Right.
But I also think we were afraid of my sister dying.
Right.
So I think that brought up stuff.
Well, that was just silly.
Yeah. How could that happen?
Right. Why would you worry about?
What are we in Bizarro world? You were afraid to go further with your joke because then I could have turned on you, dear Josh.
There's just decorum at a certain point.
How'd you guys?
Decorum.
But why would they have these secret? I just realized why would they keep feuds? I could see why Martin and Lewis would keep their feuds secret because they were having success. We don't have the success to prop up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
if we didn't like each other,
seep through. Yeah.
If we didn't like each other, I don't like him, but how can I walk away from this?
Right.
How many jokes can I do about how little we make? But a million. Thank God for empty comedy rooms.
Yes.
Thank God.
Finally.
Half my speech. Half my speech is written.
Like there's going to be a Just for Laughs.
Oh my God! I just realized that. I'm somewhat worried about half the world's population getting sick.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about canceling that speech.
I just canceled my Acme.
You did? Are they closed?
They're closing that. They closed shortly after I said I'm not coming. But they weren't related.
Was that a hard decision for you to make? I'm not trying to be...
No. It was kind of. I was really meant... for the past few days... what I said, I sent him a thing on Friday saying, hey, I don't want to be the first to drop out, but I'm very happy to be the second one to drop out. And Lewis sent me a thing back saying, well, we've cut everything. We've cut half the room so that everyone can space,
Oh.
We've cut the capacity of the room and we're spacing out all the tables.
That's pretty cool. And when I do it, they don't have to do it that way because I don't know.
They call it the Kindler configuration. There you go.
I got many jokes and they
I would have gotten there myself, but you
can't because you don't have this. You can't take my shtick of not doing well.
Turn it on you? Yes, I can.
But I'm the one who doesn't do well. You're the crowd pleaser.
Wait a second.
Hold it.
How dare you, sir?
How dare you, sir?
But I was I was kind of playing chicken.
Yeah, that good. It's good. What about Moon Tower? You think I'll go to Moon Tower?
But today I was like, I don't want to think about am I going? Am I not
Right.
anymore? I know I'm not going, so I might as well just tell him. And he's like, yeah, no problem. I'm probably not going to be able to be open much longer. And sure enough, they sent out a thing today that they have to shut down for the next 10 days minimum.
Wow. And so how are we going to, so when do our checks come from the Trump? Our checks when we're not being able to work?
They're coming soon.
Now
They're coming right after the tests.
You know it'll be the worst day of my life. I hope this doesn't trivialize it. If there's a DoorDash or Grubhub slowdown.
I think how many people we know will be fucking driving Grubhub soon?
Well, also, we ordered food when you said you went to a very popular
grocery store.
Hey, how about this? For those people.
I went through some shit to get you that soup, by the way.
Because everything was out?
Yes.
But here's going to be a joke just for the people who live near us, okay? Things are so bad around here. I mean, it reminds me of the down the street. Remember when they never had anything?
Right. Ha 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 ha. Local humor for the whatever that's called, Foursquare
or Neighbors. So now there's not going to be. You can't dine in a restaurant now, right?
That's correct. Not in LA. You can take out and deliver.
I don't think that's any. Well, then I won't have to adjust my living at all.
Well, in many ways, I've realized, at least for myself,
nothing.
This hasn't been a huge adjustment.
Are you prepared? Am I prepared? It would be better if you asked me, are you prepared to leave your house?
Exactly.
Yeah, this is actually the best thing that can happen to people like me. Because they always go, oh, in case of an earthquake, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I got 2 bowls of this and a chicken thing and a flare. I'm doing Rickles. What would Rickles have? Yeah.
I don't know. 2 bowls of chicken thing and a flare was pretty good. You might have gone a little better with chicken thing, but chicken was definitely good. A chicken sandwich and a flare.
I got 6 years of beans.
I've got a can of tuna and a flare.
And enough weed. Now the weed shops, and this is where people are helping people.
Yeah.
You can go they will come to your car now.
Well,
that's what they said. That's what the one down the street said.
Oh, the one that does the online order thing.
Now, I'm not someone who brags that as great as it was that Josh brought me the soup, I would not add to the story that I gave him a gift in return, because that would just make me
You did give me a little jar of joints. Yes, you did.
And that was, I thought that was,
nice.
Yes, and they're infused.
Yes. They're infused, yes.
But only somebody who's sensitive.
But if we have to go deeper, you also came out wearing plastic bags. Okay?
Oh, here's the thing that's so stupid. I didn't understand what Susan was saying. Now I understand what she was saying. When you go into a store, take a tissue or whatever, open the door and then throw that tissue away. I didn't know what she was saying.
Right.
So I was just learning.
So
that was the first day. I've got 2 bags. 2 bread bags. I'm not saying that Susan was not trying to make the world's greatest photo, but she didn't. It wasn't me who took that photo of the soup. I mean, you could see that there was nothing cluttered in the background.
Yeah.
It featured
a
the
little
soup.
scale would have been nice. It just looked like bowls. It should have been. You should have given something to show.
Unbelievable!
Just how much
You
soup I
fucking
made
goddamn ingrate. You think I don't know that you didn't even make the soup? You had your guy Schmoopel do it?
Yeah, Schmoopel was off that day.
Let me tell you something. Your soup is perfect, and I'll tell you why.
Thank you.
And it's the carrots are big and they're soft.
Yeah.
I love celery in soup. Now, would you have not put celery if I didn't ask, or I didn't even ask for it?
You didn't ask for it.
I love celery.
I did my recipe.
I love onions.
Well, all there. Although I had to send a guy to the back to get me carrots. And I had, the only celery was the pre-cut in water celery.
Oh, I hope you didn't use that.
I did. But then I boiled it, so.
Now, Susan said, did you ask for only white meat? I don't think I did ask for only white meat.
No.
But you made it like a white meat heavy.
All white meat, yeah.
Oh, it's just so good. Because I know you got the broth from however you did it.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. This is what you can't get in a can or anywhere. Why isn't it that they can't make it? Is this a stupid question? Why is this, Mama's grandpa soup? I don't think it's called that. At Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Or even at Gelson's, whatever. It's never as good as homemade soup like that.
Because it's not as good. I'm a good cook, as we opened with.
Right, but couldn't you, like, if I said to you, Josh, I love what you like. It's Shark Tank, preschool Shark Tank. And you make 32 carrots, and it also has an antibiotic capsule in it, and then I need...
Yeah.
Preschool Shark Tank!
We're back, baby.
We're back. People were wondering, would we be back? Would we be back? All right, let me see if I can wrap it up, because at some point I have to wrap up death. So, great time with my mom and my sister, and great time with... Okay, so here's the thing. My mom is not going to be here that much longer. She might, but she has Parkinson's.
Right.
And
it's not necessarily her wish to be.
Right. And half the day she is happy, and half the day she really doesn't want to be around anymore because of the unpleasantness. But we did the thing we're really scared. You know, here's the thing I want to tell people. I would include this podcast, not with a warning, but I don't want people to have to dwell on, I'm not dwelling on this. Some people don't want to ever hear about death at all.
Right.
And I guess I'm saying, don't worry, I'll get back to the frivolity and classics like, how was your week, Josh? And, I didn't write anything down. Don't worry. The usual hooks that made you listen to this podcast. But I learned a lot about my mom because I spent like 5 days with her, and the Kindler genetic problem is, I don't know if you learned about this with your mom, but I'm learning about this with my mom in relation to me. Because when I came back and I was all panicked and I spoke to you on the phone, the problem is so much of it is anticipatory anxiety.
Right.
Like literally, am I going to die, or am I going to cause someone? It's like, it starts out simple. Will I go back? Did I get the coronavirus from this?
Right.
And will I give it to Susan? Oh my God, I'm panicking again. Oh my God, my mom's downstairs. I should be down there. You start to add all those things up, and you start to freak out about everything.
Right.
So when I see my mom go through similar things, and in a lot of ways, obviously it's more concrete. Parkinson's does a number on your body,
right,
in unpredictable ways. You know, like you have Michael J. Fox. My mother never had speech problems like Michael J. Fox had when he first got it.
Right.
You know, so it's a very unpredictable thing, but it can play with your mind. But my mom has that, this person explained to her, and the way she said it was like so perfect. She was like one of the nurses, and she was telling Joan, she's like from Jamaica, and so she was saying, Joan, what you're doing is you don't tell us when you're first having pain. So, because my mom's not good at articulating what's going on,
right,
and I can relate to that. Because what's going on? I'm dying, I think. You know, it's like if you start freaking out at the very first thing, then you start to further and further not be able to convey what's going on.
Yeah.
So she was saying, you don't tell us in time, so then then we can't get to it because there's things they can do. There's morphine. There's things they can do.
I mean, that's true with pain management. As you take it early, you don't chase the pain.
Don't chase the pain. Is exactly what they say. And then when it's over and she's feeling good, she's afraid she'll be back to where she wanted to not live.
Right.
And that's all. And that is so much of what I do. And I think I can learn before I die about myself so that I don't freak out as much. I guess that's what I was trying to say to people. Like when you talk about death sometimes, like you go, just forget it until I die. But I don't want to be obsessed with death, but I also don't want to be what I was for many years, scared of it.
Right. Which
I'm not anymore as much. I'm scared of how I'm going to react.
Right.
Like one of the things that was scary for my sister that I didn't realize quite was that she couldn't catch her breath.
Right.
And so like last weekend, she took more. They have, when you're in hospice, and if you have a parent in this situation, or yourself in this situation, it sounds scary, but sometimes it's better to go into a hospice because some people live for a couple of years in a hospice situation. and what I mean, but like home hospice, like my sister did not want to go back to the hospital again.
Right.
My mom does not want to go back into the hospital again.
Right.
And they don't want any extraordinary measures. So they give you a comfort pack that you have in your refrigerator. It has morphine in it. It has Percodan in it. So my sister, a few days ago, she took the morphine because it calmed her down it calms you down when you can't catch your breath. You panic even further. So, it really, really did bring into crystallization kind of the Kindler genetic pattern, you know, because I still think I was able to calm down my mom and make her laugh.
Right.
And I'm like, she could laugh. I think she has the best sense of humor in the family in many ways.
Right.
And she really is like, we were talking about my therapy, and I said, well, I'm in therapy and, for my OCD. And I said, I'm on Prozac. And she was like, well, do you think that's enough medication? Like she was encouraging me to take more.
Yeah.
And all kind of things like that. But then very quickly, when she would think back, it would be hard for her not to slip into the memory of when she felt like, it's a weird thing. It's like you feel like something's pressing on your body in her particular case, and her limbs start to move on their own.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very difficult. But I did have great days with her, and then the day after I got back, my sister passed away. So it's like,
Oy
vey.
Well, what an amazing trip.
Mm-hmm. You know it.
I mean, I don't mean to say look at the bright side, but
yeah.
But it was still, I mean, in terms of just sort of the beauty of that much love kind of happening, at least,
I think miracles. My brother and I both had the same thing. Like, I believe in miracles. If by miracles you mean my sister stayed alive to make it happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and this happens all the time where people stay until they see a loved one or something like that. And just for example, my mother at one point, she said, because my mother, God bless her. Is she listening to this? My mother can be self-involved. She can verge on narcissism. Do you know anybody like that? A little self-involved?
No.
Huh?
No.
So she was going through this whole thing where, she called my sister because my sister's really the caretaker. And then, it was somewhat funny. She was calling she gets very upset, my mom, and she says, call everybody, call your brother, call this person. She called 911 once.
Yeah.
And the thing was, get me out of this chair.
Was this her stair lift thing?
Well, no, it's she's in her chair, but she wants it, but she feels like she's stuck in it.
Yeah.
So she said, get somebody to get me out of this chair. So she called the police a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then she said, I need a chiropractor. But then that's not what she was saying. She said, I need a carpenter, is what she was really saying, to get her out of the chair.
Yeah.
Because I figured out my mother would never go to a chiropractor. That was her whole thing, was what kind of licensing do you have? Right? And so she would never go to a chiropractor.
Right.
So, but at one point she said, Dr. Kildare could get me out of this chair. That's a reference right?
Sure.
So she was very funny all through these things. And it's she really does have an amazing sense of humor. But she's very mistrustful, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it's very hard to get her to not. You can really see when a Kindler or whoever has similar to these problems can't stop thinking about something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you think it's the most important thing in the world.
Right.
That's why we were before I left last time when I was seeing her, I lied a couple of times about the crossword puzzle because you wouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's like a 3-dog thing. I think it's Arf. It's a cartoon dog.
Yeah.
But then I, walked in the other room, looked at it up, and said, "You know what, Mom? I'm pretty sure it's Arf."
Yeah.
And then the nurses were saying that's what they do all day long with my mother.
Yeah.
Cheat because
because she won't let it go.
She won't let it go. In fact, she even said she's asking you to cheat if she says there's a number you can call, is a crossword puzzle number. I don't know if that's true, but it's supposedly a crossword puzzle. So I really feel like my mom's probably going to go soon, but I feel like it was a magical. And you know the thing you're saying about how it's not even looking on the bright side of things. It's seeing
the whole picture.
It's seeing the whole picture. And I told I did a phone session with my therapist. I said 99% of what would normally bother me, I'm able to not even seems ridiculous to me.
Right.
So it does give you a kind of a clarity of thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've learned through my own experiences that there's essential beauty in these experiences because people's essential character comes out. You know what I mean?
I don't think you've said that before.
I don't know if I've said it here, but it's a belief I have, you know, and it's something that I usually tell people when they're going into these experiences to keep an eye out for the beauty.
So you remember not so much with your father though, because he really was.
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly with my father to some extent, and then, you know, with my mother and friends that have died and all these things, you see, you know, it's like the Mr. Rogers thing, the look for the helpers, you know, when you're in a tragedy, you know.
What's that? I don't remember that, Mr.
It's just like a famous Mr. Rogers quote, you know,
right,
about how his mother would, you know, when something horrible would happen, she'd tell him to look for the helpers.
Oh, that's
and they're
cool.
always there, you know.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing, essentially. It's like there is some beauty in the chaos and in the horror and all of that, just because the best part of people comes out in those times too, you know.
Also, I feel like saying, because I always worry about what you should do when someone dies, because it's just one of those, like, it's very hard to reach out. So everybody who reached out, I want to say thank you for reaching out. But if you can't, don't feel bad. I mean, it's like nobody's judging you on when you reached out or what I would normally do was I felt terrible because I texted someone, and should I have texted them or not text? I mean, this obviously the second someone dies, you don't want to necessarily text their.
Well, we didn't say that, you know, that anyone died. We just said family emergency. So,
right.
So everyone assumed your mom died.
Well, you know, that's the thing, too, that this whole thing has taught me to let go of the part of to realize that the obsession is some kind of the obsessive stuff is, if you want to call it an illness, whatever you want to call it,
I call it a setting.
I call it a character in my play.
Yeah.
All of those things do not matter. You know, like, to me, I knew I wasn't going to record the show last week.
Right.
You know, it's like part of the old me came in and goes, because it's hard to separate between I'd like to do a show for the people. You deserve to do a show for they deserve a show every month. So, but once I was able to separate that, I was able to go, oh no, I couldn't do something like this now.
Well, that's the thing is, I think I think the real decision was it would be disrespectful to do a show this soon.
Right, and that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Without even saying.
And so that was easy.
And right, and I think the big lesson I'm trying to learn is that this judgment thing that I have is so out of whack that if I can let that part of my brain go a little bit of just the judgment is fine, but then the repression of it or the blowing it up, every thought that you have, like.
But here's the essential progress that I think you've made, you know, especially because of therapy. Not only can you see this stuff now, but you've started to you've had, you know, even when you were at your sort of most hysterical on the phone with me, you had the emotional vocabulary to describe what you were feeling.
That is true.
When you're saying something as specific as I can't forgive myself,
Yeah, that was so specific.
So yeah. So that feels to me like, you know, just a couple of steps removed from really getting on top of some of this shit is really seeing what's happening, you know, because then there are some days magic words, you know?
Right? Yeah,
because you described what you were telling to me, I could give you an answer.
Yes,
that was acceptable to you at that moment.
And also, when you lose your balance, it's very hard for part of it being, if someone is not going to forgive you for this, which is always my fear,
Right.
that people are sitting around. Did you see him getting in that argument with that Hassan where he doubled down?
Right.
You don't have that guarantee in life. And that and I can't base my happiness. I can be sorry for what I've done,
Right.
and I can feel bad. But if I can't accept that I can't control how other people think, and it doesn't matter in the ultimate universal sense
Right.
of what's the most important the most important thing is the most important thing that I have God at the end go, that was okay, not so bad. All that. No, the important thing is for me to be a happier person.
Right.
And to be a happier person.
Well, and ultimately to have some pride in your behavior, you know.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, also the pride goes with figuring out the behavior. And I don't think I had figured it out at this deep a level. I think I was still telling myself, hey, I make fun of Dershowitz. I make fun of this. You know, as I still telling myself that not taking responsibility for what I was doing online by knowing that's not the end of the world, but by at least being truthful to yourself about what your behavior is.
Right.
You know, and then it became like, I had a friend of mine, Ken Berger, one of the Berger brothers, and after I apologized to Hassan, he said, oh, I'm so glad that you did that. And I just want to say, I really think, you know, he was the first friend of mine years ago who told me, and I didn't want to hear it as much then, but thank God for Ken. Thank God for people like you and Ken who reached out and said, you know, you see how I am, you see the pain from a separate view.
Right.
And so I wrote him back. I said, I can't argue with one thing you're saying. You just feel like your whole body relaxes when you're not in that.
Because you're not being defensive.
Yeah.
And therefore you're not in a defensive stance.
That's exactly what it is.
Defensive stance.
Yeah.
You know?
So instead of me going, I don't know about Josh's organization for the top 10 Hollywood, whatever the thing was when we started talking last year, you had brought up some idea of the, Hollywood made the powerful people.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like. It's always me taking whatever's happening as some deeper representation than what it is.
Right.
And I think for a lot of people, they might think. I think if you're used to being directing your life, it may sound weird, these kind of things. But it's like it was the hardest thing for me to do.
Well, but I mean, if we're gonna, you know, being a narcissist, which I'm not saying you are, but you have some of that in you.
Yes.
Your first instinct is, how does this make me look? I mean,
that's right.
That's just your
That's
wiring.
Right.
Your wiring makes you ask that question.
And that blocks you.
I mean, you see that with Trump in the extremists.
Yes.
Know? And that's how you can study narcissistic behavior, is like what's happening to make him do that. But, you know, with my personal narcissistic studies, that's what's happening, it seems like. With narcissist personality is your brain is wired to go, how does this make me look? Like, that's the first thought. That's first thought theater is.
Wow. Yeah.
How does this make me look? You know?
Well, I never heard it that
but
clearly.
I don't think you're a malignant narcissist. You know what I mean? I think,
right.
I think you have self-absorption that's complicated by OCD.
Right.
I think you have the self-absorption wiring and then the OCD.
And even you could say about my mother.
Lights it up like cocaine, you know?
And even you could say about my mother, when I say, again, don't listen to this, Mom. My mother was not there for me because of her narcissism.
Well, and that sounds like that was the Kindler thing. How will this make us look?
That's right.
Yeah.
But when I can look I can feel sad now as an adult about my mom, whereas when I was a kid, I took it personally.
Right.
I'm not lovable.
Right.
You know, so it's like, that's what the growth does. It doesn't mean you have to love your mother. It doesn't mean whatever. But I happen to.
No, but it gives you a chance to forgive them on some level.
Exactly.
It gives you a chance to go, if you get out of the perspective of what was she doing to me, and get more to the perspective of what was going on in her head that made her behave that way.
Exactly.
It becomes a different conversation, you know.
Also, me trying to fix everything. I have a couple of bad habits that I'd like to break. Letting people not finish their thought, which also comes from narcissism in a way. which is, I'm the funniest guy and I'm the best, it's something.
Well, I can't let them assume I didn't know what they were going to say.
Right. Yeah.
How would that make me look?
So listening to people and being there for people. I'm very proud of myself that in the last, and when there were difficulties in the family, when we had arguments, that both with my brother and my sister, I was able to listen to them.
Right.
And that was and that really helped in therapy. I didn't try to fix them or make them feel bad for what they were feeling. I'm not saying I do this all the time, but I'm saying in this particular case, I learned my whole life that my need to control, I guess when you feel like your only answer is to control, you're so used to doing it.
Right.
So it's probably at some point in my life, I had to figure out, I know Josh is mad at me because when I was a little kid, someone being mad at me, meant me having to run away from the house or whatever. You know what I mean? Right. It's like I needed to figure out whether you were going to be mad. But those things are only create obstacles for you in your adult life, for me, in my adult life, assigning so much extra baggage to everything, and not listening.
I'm sorry, did you say something? See, I
was trying to prolong the joke.
Yeah, it didn't help.
What do you mean?
I'm ashamed.
Well, I don't know if we're going to take a break, but I didn't bring anything for the break this week.
I posted this today just because it's so appropriate for the times. The song that Allison and I wrote a while back about free-floating anxiety.
All right, now, so...
Worried about the moon.
Do I know this one?
Yeah, you've heard it.
Okay.
Do you feel there's something guiding you, like the rhythm in your soul? Something deep inside of you, you relinquish all control. In my fantasies, it's another place and time, 'cause the world I see leaves me shallow and unkind. As we drive tonight, we're going home. Hope we get there soon. Now the stars are dimmed by the city lights, and I'm worried about the moon. My obsession started boring me, like the ringing of a phone, carrying on endlessly, like I don't get that I'm alone. Is there anywhere that I can run and hide from my empty nest, from my empty life? As we drive tonight, we're going home. Hope we get there soon. Now the stars are dimmed by the city lights, and I'm worried about the moon. I'm worried about politicians' disease, poverty, my complexion, germ warfare, you and me. I'm worried about messiahs who come too late and leave too soon. Now the stars are dimmed by the city lights, and I'm worried about the moon. Won't you tell me that it's all okay? One more time and I'll believe you're not gonna disappear, and there's nothing up your sleeve. There's a change in pace to this changing world. With my veil in place, I'm a shadow girl. As we drive tonight, we're going home. Hope we get there soon. Now the stars are dimmed by the city
Alison McLeod, my wife. You can get that song and others at AlisonMcLeod.bandcamp.com.
Why do you sound creepy talking about
Because
your wife?
I'm creepy in love with her.
It's the Quiet Storm. It's the one thing I did forget, but we could save it for a future show. And by the way, thank you for that song.
Sure.
And what's the matter with me? I'm back to my old tricks. But I did have a request from my brother, who spoke to me about he felt that the My Pillow guy was expanding too fast.
He's expanding too fast. What kind of bullshit is that?
Here's my brother's point,
What kind
Mr.
of
Pillow.
What kind of Jew rhetoric is that?
There are still the point is this:
Yeah.
there are still people who need pillows. That's your field. You're the pillow guy. Why do you think all of a sudden they're going to buy your sheets?
Because I'm the first name in sleep.
But Giza, what does it even mean? My brother was like, Giza?
It's Giza cotton, the finest cotton in Egypt.
Well, my brother's a businessman, and he says the classic mistake you're making.
Well, he's a Jew.
And we buttoned it up.
Do you want to go to questions?
Sure.
All righty. Give me a little theme music while I get these.
And thank you. You did tell me on the phone, Andy, whatever you do, I don't want to hear any complaining about your family.
Yeah, no personal stuff.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Let's keep
Keep it evergreen.
Let's keep it light and evergreen, huh?
Light and evergreen. Hey, I'm light and I'm evergreen. You only can bring up things that are perennial. I was down on Main Street today.
That's why I ended up quitting later with Greg Kinnear.
Because that's what you wanted, right?
Well, because he started shooting movies, so they made we had to start banking 8 shows a week when he was in town. And when you're doing a nightly talk show and you can't do topical jokes, what the fuck are you doing?
Do you think that his show would have lasted if he hadn't gotten into movies? Did you like the show when it was just him?
No, I mean, you know,
He was good on Talk Soup.
he was good on Talk Soup, and he had moments on Later, but he just wasn't wired for that gig, you know. He wasn't a comic, and he wasn't that interested.
And I thought Kilborn could be funny sometimes too, but he wasn't that
He
interested.
was a jackass too.
Well,
so,
yeah. He had that attitude there.
But yeah, no, you know, I think he was better suited off as a movie star than a talk show
that's
host.
true.
You know,
I also wonder, I love the Costa show, but would a show like that be interesting now?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
The same reason it was then.
Yeah, you really can't compare.
It's a half
time.
hour good conversation. You know,
Yeah. All right, I'm sorry. I realize I don't have as many.
if that doesn't work, then this sure as fuck doesn't.
No, this works on this different level.
Ah.
Ah.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. All right. Let's go. Some of these date back 2 weeks almost.
Oh. This really does feel strange in a way that we missed a show.
It was weird. It's like first time in 3 years almost.
You
3
gonna yell
fucking years.
Are you going to yell at me about it?
No.
I told you.
I said weird, not bad.
Okay, because I don't want to get into a fight unless you think it's entertaining, and we could bank it.
So far, not.
Can we bank them?
The Fight Show. Don't lock that freezer. Don't. Seth Dick III says, I'm updating my LinkedIn profile based on my regular submissions. Can I list myself as contributor, Thought Spiral Podcast? I think it'll be a difference maker with people in a position to hire me.
You'll get no arguments from me, my friend.
Go for it. On LinkedIn, absolutely.
Yeah, you can. In fact,
Nothing's true on LinkedIn.
you can say that I'm best friends with the LinkedIn owner.
I'm not. I'm telling you right now, though, I am not going to congratulate you on your work anniversary when it comes up in a year.
Is that what they have?
Yeah, I get those notices. Congratulate Tom on his work anniversary. Yeah.
Were you ever on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn, but
Oh.
I don't
Have you ever gotten a gig?
service my account.
No. Have you ever gotten a gig from LinkedIn?
No, I've gotten nothing from it, really.
All right. So why is it still worth so much money?
Because I don't know.
I don't
is
think
it?
it is.
I don't know.
It's like the white pages.
I think normies get some value from it.
Who?
Normies,
What's normies?
normal people.
Oh, I never knew you called them that.
Yeah,
We're kind of the
behind their back.
squares.
No, that's
Bunch
rude.
of squares.
Not Tweepahara says, Andy, Austin canceled South by Southwest, but Moon Tower is still on. We promise collectively not to cough on you or touch your face. Much.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. They'll tell me, right?
When is Moon Tower?
It's at the end of April.
Yeah, they're probably still holding out hope.
Well, also, it's not.
Foolishly. Oh.
You think it'll be? We don't know. I was going to ask you as the expert.
End of April.
No good?
We're still not going to be.
NG? How about beginning of June?
Mass gatherings. Although they are your shows. So.
That's not nice.
Yeah, but it's fast.
It's easy. Plug it in. I plug in. You know what I do a lot? I plug in old jokes into different structures.
Oh, so it's literally a plug-in hybrid.
It's a plug-in. How long did you have that?
That's
very good.
Once you
very good.
Plugged it in.
It's very good. I don't think it's going to work for you, though. I'll take it. I don't know what I'm saying.
Speaking of my speediness, Natweet Bahara says the fastest gun in town is officially the Minneapolis Kid, J. Elvis Weinstein. That Titanic Goldberg quip from TS-148 was great. The town is yours, partner.
That's a long time ago.
Yes. Sir, we've hit a Goldberg. Charles Nelson Randy sent a picture of young Bob Balaban at Midnight Cowboy, who I kept saying you were. That was your character.
That's a young... Wait, that's Rick Moranis.
No, that's Bob Balaban.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
And that's John Voight?
Yeah.
It's Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah, when he blew him in the movie theater and then he gives him his watch in the bathroom so he doesn't kill him.
Oh, no.
That's you, is what I'm saying. You don't
is that a homoerotic, anti-homoerotic joke?
No.
Or is it a joke about how stupid looking I was?
It doesn't matter because it's a reference to stuff we'd said before, Andy. Huh? It's all references to stuff we've done and said before. So don't worry about it.
Isn't it all about
don't
now?
Don't worry about it.
How does that deal with the fact that there isn't any other moment but now?
I put some jellyfish in your coffee.
I got that one.
There you go. Larry Harold says, in light of tonight's saucy talk about sexy 60s TV actresses, who's your all-time favorite bombshell? He asks me. Mine's Natalie Wood, if you must know.
Oh, she's beautiful.
All-time favorite bombshell.
It's a hard one to pick.
It is.
Did I tell you that I was very attracted to Madonna?
You did.
And that, in fact, I have the Playboy.
Yes.
I used that 9 times today. And the hard thing about when you're older and you're masturbating, you don't know when you're done. That's another limp penis joke.
I wrote tonight to someone, there was a news article how the coronavirus has shut down porn sets. I said, damn, and I was almost just caught up.
And that's true in your case.
I've seen all the porn is my porn.
That's the joke.
I've seen it all, people.
I'm not as excited about porn as I thought I was at one point.
Yeah, well, if your thing worked, it might be a little more fun.
Oh my God, that's not nice.
Yeah, but
is it important that my thing works?
Since we did a whole episode on it, I think it's fair game.
Is it important though?
Not to me.
It certainly isn't the reason for divorce. Like I'm pretending my wife is divorcing me over my... Don't let her listen to anything. And you don't let Allison listen to anything.
Okay.
And nobody see my wife on the street and go, sorry, your husband's thingy is a little soft. Why would they do that?
They probably wouldn't.
And don't meet her and go, I bet you can't talk because you got ice cream.
I think you'd likely get more. Is it spicy? As they drive by.
Right. When is this goddamn thing going to make some money? Like the murder, like Karen Kilgariff makes $100 million a year or something. Why can't we make $1 million? Why can't we, Josh?
You know why? Because we're not successful.
Oh, okay. That's why I go to you.
Benjamin Earhart says, Andy, thank you for talking so openly and honestly in Test Show 147. It was really nice to hear you be vulnerable and describe your frustrations. I'm going through a lot right now, too, and hearing you open up like that was really great. I love Thought Spiral.
That's very wonderful to hear, and it has been a godsend to me talking about it. It's been an amazing thing, and it's unbelievable. That's why the recent thing was so crushing on top of my sister and everything. Before that was that I had just recently gotten into a thing with Eddie. So I did realize that one ingredient is that I almost always know the person in some way.
Yeah.
Who I go off on. I'm not excusing it at all.
Right.
But it's almost like I kind of know that person. I don't like what they're saying. Why is my father yelling at me? Boom, 3 steps.
Will Pfeiffer says, no question, but I have to say, as soon as you guys started talking about Make Me Laugh, Bobby Van host, by the way.
Yes, that's true.
That.
Oh, could we not remember it before?
Could not remember the host. I immediately thought of Liars Club with frequent guest Larry Hovis, which is what I brought up, and was godsmacked when you mentioned it, and him.
I don't think I remember that show. Is it the same concept?
No, Liars Club was, they'd put like this in front of a guest, and every guest would have to make up a different story about what it was.
Oh, okay.
What it did, you know.
He put for though you can't see it at home, but he put a used condom in front of me. Funny joke, condom joke. What is that, by the way?
What is it?
It's an old intercom.
Why no, Andy? It's an old synthesizer.
It is? It's like a Casio?
It's a stylophone.
And what does it sound like?
1967 technology.
Let me see. It's a stylophone.
Yes.
Is it 67? Really?
I was trying to do the Major Tom solo.
And they went and they developed it past that? Step away, Moog, or however you pronounce it. Was that a popular item?
It made it onto some records, and
It did make it onto some records?
Yeah, like Major Tom, like Space Oddity.
Oh, this is on there.
This exact instrument.
I didn't hear it the way you played it. Putting you down. How much do you think it was as a retail instrument? How'd you get it?
I bought it. It's
a
reissue. It's not a.
Oh, okay. Do you have interest in antiques or anything, or no?
Not a strong. I mean, I have an interest in more, but I don't want to collect them.
Yeah.
Like I'm interested.
Right. But nothing that you.
No, Zippos was my thing.
That's right. And I'm going to offer you right now. There's nothing. I'm trying to think of why you. Even if you were still smoking, would you still like? I can't understand what I'm saying. It's hard to keep collecting something that's related to smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, no, because there's just never any reason to take them out anymore.
See, I think
they're terrible for smoking pot.
Oh, because they're so.
Because you taste the lighter fluid.
Oh. Whenever I think about Zippo, I think of my career.
Okay, Dan Marsh says, if you had to change your first name and live the rest of your life with it, Josh and Andy, what are your new names?
Change my name. Have to live with it.
You have to live with it. Your new first name.
Well, I have two impulses. One is to go with a joke.
Yeah.
And one is to think about it seriously.
Okay. Which are you going to go with?
So far, neither.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know, but as a kid, I always really did want to be named something Christian, like Biff or Killer.
Those are your Christian names. I think you're thinking Goyish.
Chip.
You're thinking Goyish, not Christian.
Well, it wouldn't be Reggie.
Something rich, waspy, like?
Yeah, I think not
Chip? Like Chip?
Yeah, Chip would work, but I think not like Reginald. Something like, I think Van. I would have liked Van Kindler.
Van Kindler's not bad.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Maybe Wes Weinstein.
They always say when it comes out quick, it's always good.
Yeah.
Van Kindler and Wes Weinstein.
Yeah.
If you were Wes Weinstein, you wouldn't have to be. I'm not saying you have to be, but you wouldn't change
The
it to
Wes Weinstein, the better.
Is that what your hook line would be?
Yes.
Don't push me. Please, what's that thing?
It's a plastic ball that has candy in it, and then when the candy
And that bushes your teeth.
with the candy, it's called $1,000 plus some hookers.
Oh, that's not right.
Why, Jeff?
Andy, that's not
Way
funny.
words like that.
There's
children in this bed. Please.
have some respect. And then I'm sleeping with my grandma. Come on, Andy.
Andy, please. There's kids in this bed.
I don't know why this is happening. And then my grandmother's all of a sudden real attractive. Andy, please. The
God's
kids
sakes, there's fictional kids in this bed.
and your grandmother. And then my grandpa says, I'm gay, 18th century style. Andy, really?
Really, please. Your grandmother's He's right there.
You know, before suffrage, there were so many jokes you could make you can't make anymore.
It's true. They voted them down.
Why are these women? This kind of comedy never gets old. What's the fucking deal with these women with what they complaining about? That kind of, I would call it the Dice School of Comedy.
Yeah, but that wasn't really his thing.
Why do you have to be all of a sudden? Why does Mr. Technical come up?
Hello, I'm Mr. Technical.
Yeah, Mr. Gentlemen, if I may intrude, yeah, you're using .02 gauge wire. Unsafe.
It sounds like another
That
character.
was bad robot guy. M. Ledsome says, hey guys, just to say thanks for making the show. It cheers me up every Tuesday. Thanks, M.
So what happens? Why does she get it later?
Because it's,
Oh, she doesn't listen to it till Tuesday. I thought there was a time change involved.
well, she's in England, so she's not getting it, you know.
I can't figure this
I guess she would get it at like 8 a.m. her time.
Right, and she's like, fuck this noise until Tuesday.
I think so.
Don't you think if I
That's
knew
her
some-
schedule. That's just what she likes.
I wish Greenwich Mean Time I could understand these deep concepts. Well, M, and thank you for your other message to me, M. It meant a lot.
Claytor says, hello, funnies.
Hello, Claytor. I am Claytor. You will be I will kill you with my clay.
If both you could magically have any hairstyle you wanted, what would it be? Thanks for bearing your lives to us.
Thank you.
If I could have any hairstyle, I guess it would be hair. That would be my...
I've never had a hankering for any kind of different hair. I've been blessed with my hairline. And
I mean, basically my hair.
I mean, like, not everybody has a
God loves me.
I mean, if you don't have a great hairline like me, I'm certainly not going to. Here's the problem with hair. If you do a Brian Grazer?
Yeah,
Or you Kid and Play, one of those type things?
sure. Where it's a trademark.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know if that ever works, but it has to have worked. Maybe Eraserhead, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Can you think of someone who had crazy hair that you liked?
Marty Allen. Hello there.
Hello there. I think it works.
Shut you right down, didn't I?
No, I was thinking maybe Leonard Bernstein, too, right?
Sure. Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein worked. Let me get this straight. He could come up with E equals MC squared, but he couldn't figure out how to make toast in the morning. Nice going, Einstein. You think I'm having a further breakdown? Is this laziness now, or is it just the grieving
Or
period?
a third thing.
Please put that on my gravestone.
Well, it'll be husband,
Wife,
comedian, third
and the
thing.
third thing. I will almost want to be dead now so that we do that.
I will make sure if I'm alive that you get that.
You will be alive. You've engineered it that way. I'm going to befriend this.
You ate all the soup?
What's that?
You ate all the soup?
Oh my God, I did. Oh, could I die?
Excuse me.
Ask me how many bowls of soup I had.
How many bowls of soup?
I think 9.
9 bowls of soup? 9.
Susan didn't have as many because she had 1/3 the amount that I did.
That's true.
Because you made it
Well, she had
gluten-free.
1/2 the amount you did, actually. 1/3 of the total soup was hers, but she had 1/2 the amount you did.
I don't understand how. Oh, that's right. I don't get it. Is that a calculus? I don't know why I can't understand things like that. I had 2/3. She had 1/3.
Right. So you had
2/3 is 1/3 more than 1/3.
correct. So
I had
she
twice as,
You had twice as much as her. She had half as much as you
but I had 66.66%
of the total soup.
Mommy.
That's where you start to fall asleep and you do an old mommy.
Did you eat any of her soup, or did you just keep
Yes,
stick to
because she
yours?
can't eat. The woman can't eat soup like a Jew. Let me explain something to you, to people who haven't felt this. If you're a Jew and you don't have gluten problems and you have this particular Ashkenazic background, there is just nothing like that spoon that gets all the meat, a whole glob of the egg noodles. It's just, it really is pure heaven. And I have been eating it on it since Friday. So Friday, 4 days?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today.
Unbelievable. I don't want to say it got old by today, but it laid an egg.
Mommy.
He says on a special episode of Preschool Shark Tank, the preschoolers are the sharks and celebrities have to pitch to them. Up next, Dennis Miller tries to sell a train to the preschoolers.
Hey, yes, so what do you have today? Do you have tell us your invention.
All right.
Tell us it.
Yeah, okay.
He's got a funny face.
Cool your jets, Richie Rich.
What is he saying?
So, what we got going here is, it's like a car, but it's hooked up to a bunch of other cars.
Okay.
And we're calling it a train. And it's like a car, but there's also a bar in it, and there's a thing, and it can
Mommy.
and it can make you meh.
This comedian scares me.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back on Preschool Shark Tank.
I want to give kudos to the person who came up with that question.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't make hay with it.
You know what? What are we? A machine that you put a thing in and you pop out impressions?
Tom the Tom says, we all know guitar solos are generally self-indulgent bullcrap. That being said, what's your favorite?
Well, I have a few favorites.
All right.
And
Oh, do tell. Boomer.
the one in Reel It in the Years is pretty great.
Uh-huh.
And big Jerry Garcia fan. Uh-huh. So a lot of stuff of his all of his solos are really great.
No, they're not.
I also like, for a while, I was addicted to the Dire Straits thing.
Yeah.
That solo.
From Sultans of Swing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty damn good one.
I also think, isn't Jimmy Page pretty good in that thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you? Because I'm out of ideas. What would be your favorite guitar solos? Hendrix. I loved him. But I can't, I don't know what I'm saying.
Favorite guitar solo? I don't know.
How about when it's Eric Clapton playing on the White Album, or he's playing somewhere, or Abbey Road?
No, he's on Guitar Gently Weeps.
Pretty good. I don't know. I can't. It's a tough question.
How about the one in Something is pretty good. Harrison's.
Bow, 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 bow.
The.
Yes. It's preschool shark something.
Dan Marsh says, greetings, you insolent Josh and Andy. If you could be a roadie for any band or musician and go along on any tour they did in any year, which would you pick and why?
Grateful Dead 72.
Yeah?
Because it would have been a lot of acid,
Right.
and I would have been playing guitar, and that would have been interesting. Because you're going as somebody else, right? You're going as another.
You're a roadie.
I'll be a roadie for the Grateful. That would have been the best.
Yeah.
If they let me party, whatever I had to do. First of all, I don't want to be a roadie because you have to lift things.
Yeah.
It doesn't look fun.
And sleep on a shelf on a bus. Yeah, I don't have. I just watched. I might have said something like Elvis Costello or something like that, but I just watched the documentary "If It Ain't Stiff, It Ain't Worth a Fuck" about Stiff Records, and it was a fly-on-the-wall doc of the Stiff Records tour.
Is it cool?
In like 1977, and not really. No, I mean it was like a bunch of young idiots on the road in a tour bus. It was cool people. It was Nick Lowe and Elvis Costello and Reckless Eric and
Yeah. How come I don't know that group? Or what was that tour?
It was Stiff Records. It was a record label.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like a punk record label in England that was Elvis's first label, and Nick Lowe was sort of the house producer, and Dave Edmunds was on it, and
I like Rockpile too.
yeah.
I love those guys.
Seth Dick Trois says, I was going to have the Thought Spiral barbecue mentioned last week, but I've been advised to cancel gatherings of over 1,000. I'd like to ask James Mason to break the news. Well, I'm very sorry to say that due to this pandemic that we're all a part of, The Seth Dick barbecue has been postponed.
No.
I don't want to say canceled because of all the heartbreak, but we'll say it's been postponed for now.
Oh, come on.
Oh, please, it's for the common good.
What about the Jews?
Well, the Jews can go.
Why is any punchline with the Jews works for me, except during Nazi Germany?
It gets us out.
It's a good out.
Yeah. It's a button.
I'm reading more about the Nazis. I still hate them. So don't think I'm coming around.
You'll come around eventually. Sous Vide says, I feel like we are living in a time when we are having a slow motion 9/11. I'm totally anxious. And the third feeling. Is uncomfortable laughter better than no laughter at all? Absolutely it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And it saves you, it sometimes, without having that ability.
We just did an hour of uncomfortable laughter here in the show.
Yeah. Thank you for saying laughter.
Yeah.
Thank you. What I'm thanking you for. No, it's, I do think you have to, just like I have to separate. Yes, there are all horrible things going on, but there are things I can do.
Everything can be funny at the same time.
Yeah.
Is my motto, which I don't actually use as a motto. But it's a guiding principle. That everything can simultaneously be funny and serious.
Because you kind of have to let go of because you can't live that way anyway, thinking, what's the point, because it's all going to blow up in a second.
Yeah, I mean, but it's for me, it's like it's all one process.
How do you mean?
I mean, everything goes through the same filter, the part that looks for the funny part of everything.
Oh, true. Yes.
Greg Kelly says, listening to the show while my daughter participates in the Raptor Corps at Minnesota Raptor Center. What's your favorite raptor? Peregrine falcon? Red-tailed hawk? A third type? I know Foster Brooks likes the brr national symbol bird.
The only thing I know about falcons is from The Falcon and the Snowman, which was with Sean Penn.
Yeah, which was just a code name.
But he did deal with falcons in that movie, didn't he?
So what did you learn about falcons from Falcon and the Snowman?
I learned nothing about them.
You said whatever I know about falcon is from Falcon and the Snowman. So what did you learn?
Okay, well, I learned that they're good. I learned falcon made a terrible husband. Did you leave that in?
Huh?
Did you leave me doing Dana Carvey in?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Cheekies. What was wrong with that bit? I don't really know much about it. They keep things in their hand. They fight, right? Take it away, Josh. Tell us about your favorite falcon.
I do. You know what? All of those soaring raptor birds make me think of my father, actually, because that was his fascination, kind of.
Oh, what did he?
Yeah, my dad, if he saw a bird sort of in one of those hovering patterns, he would just be fascinated like a cat with them.
How about when they all fly around together? He must have loved that too, which you don't see
as much. No.
Oh, good. Oh, I see.
No, he really was interested in the way that they rode the air currents and the updrafts.
Yeah, but how about when there's 4 million? No, and they make a right turn.
Nope. No, he pretty much
just the one.
Just the one hunting.
Oh, what a bore he sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can we get into slamming? Is slamming your father too soon? Too late?
No. He's in quarantine right now in the ground.
We're edgy. They're edgy. They're not afraid of death, except during the podcast.
Dan Wade says, "Hey guys, I enjoyed watching Hunters. It's a shame the producers couldn't agree to terms with Jackie Mason and had to settle for Al Pacino. Many blessings to Andy's family."
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I watched.
What are we talking about? What's Hunters?
Hunters is an Amazon series with Al Pacino where they're
I haven't seen it.
Nazi hunting, essentially.
Is it good?
I don't know. I watched about 15 minutes of it and I kind of couldn't get into it. There was a few too many bad accents. And
is Al Pacino doing a bad accent again?
Not a great accent.
Is it as bad as but the one, the famous one was the "Juke got that juke, kill you with the juke." Or is that? Am I mixing them up again?
No, that's Scarface.
But he was kind of kidding around with that accent, right?
Well, it wasn't over the top, but it was. You could see it from there.
How would you like my little friend? My little friend. So this one, is it based on the Nazi hunters?
I can't quite tell. They've created this sort of, what I didn't like, I think, was that they've created this sort of Nazi soup. It takes place in the 70s and it's like, Nazi fugitives who are still running this sort of super secret evil
Oh, yeah.
Jew assassinating cabal. So when the 75-year-old woman takes off her clothes and gets into a shower and something automatically locks it in and it starts gassing her, I was like, yeah, I don't need this.
Why do we need it? Why does anyone need it? Is it a good-natured romp at least? Is it funny?
It wasn't so funny, no.
But who's liking it?
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people are watching it.
Yeah.
And one of our listeners, I can't remember her name, was in it, but I haven't gotten to episode 3 that she was in.
Oh, I'm going to check that out.
So I might revisit it. You might like it more than me because it's got Nazis and crime.
Yeah, but if it's not the right Nazi and it's the wrong crime.
It's fake Nazis. What bugs me is the desire to amp up Nazis.
I think they're already amped.
Let's amp them up to make them seem evil.
How can we make Nazis look scary?
Exactly. Michelle Weiscarver. Nothing?
Oh, I was just thinking about that. I think I responded to her because she's reached out, and I was, you know what? I've spaced out for a second.
Okay.
Michelle Weiscarver.
Yes.
How are you?
Michelle asks, what's an insult directed at you that made you go, what? Example, my ex-husband thought he was really burning me by saying, where'd you learn that? From a book?
That's a pretty bad slam.
Yeah.
Well, I think 99% of them are anti-Semitic, the attacks that have happened to me.
Yeah.
It's a tough one because I'm always when someone's putting me down. I mean, I see things online.
You agree with them.
I agree with them. Yes, that's true. It's running into my father. Right. So that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
I can't think of a...
What are you, stupid? How about that?
Oh.
What are you, a moron?
Hey, that hit me. Now it can't hit me anymore because I'm aware of it now.
There you go.
Now, and now there's no way that I'll ever think that I'm less than just because my father made me and tied me down and told me.
I don't know. I don't have a go-to on this one. Like, what are you, a comedian?
I would think that people, if they put down, if the question's more like what could they put down that would be ridiculous, that might be something like what. But you can always get me by implying I'm stupid.
Yes, and now I've made that explicit to the world. So sorry. Yo ho 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 yo ho 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 yo ho 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 ho
Yoshi Yamamoto ma Yoshi Yamamoto fa
Yoshi Yamamoto
Moto.
Yoshi.
I thought we looked at each other like we were the three tenors.
We're really jamming. I think we found our pocket. Yoshi says, anytime Andy gets swarmed by the online left, I get defensive and think, hey, only Andy's friends get to yell at him for being his centrist politics.
That's true.
When I say, hey, Andy, all I picture when you say Biden is Bobby Kindler holding you over a balcony, I say it privately.
That's a lot. That's a lot of knowledge of what my life is like.
Yoshi also says,
cool.
Josh mentioned tattoos and Judaism, and it made me think about the myth of not being able to be buried in a Jewish cemetery if you have one. From what I understand, Orthodox Judaism considers disfiguring your body forbidden, but there's nothing about burial limitations.
Oh,
well, I mean, it is true. It's not, you aren't forbidden from being buried in a Jewish cemetery, though, despite the fact that Judaism forbids tattoos.
So I wonder why that started.
There are certain burials, with when you die in Judaism, there's these burial societies who prepare the body.
Okay.
According to the rituals, and
they won't do it if you're.
And some of those societies won't do the burial if it's tattooed, but that's not,
I don't want any. I'm sorry for opening this up, but I don't want any limitations to the Jewish premises that I can go after. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think especially from Yoshi Yamamoto. Come on.
First of all, when did he get? He knows a little too much about the Jews for my liking.
It's more like Yoshi Talmud Moto.
Exactly.
Alan Art Show says, second time, long time, loving the show. Question for Andy. Where do you prefer to spend your time volunteering and giving back to the community?
Well, you give to some charities, right?
I gave a nice chunk.
What I would like to do is do something for older people or people in a hospital or like that. Perform for people, do something like Ruber does or something.
Yeah. Well, he's shut down now.
What's that?
He's shut down now, Gruber.
How come?
Because he can't go to the old
Oh, he
folks'
can't go there. Don't go there. Also, I love kids, and I also want. I think autism is where some reason I do want to do Parkinson's and autism because you know why Parkinson's, right? Man, my mama has Parkinson's, saying.
Because those are two afflictions where people won't react to you, which will put you right at ease. Alrighty, Sarah O'Connell says, if you could be isolated with one movie, one song, one book, and one meal in an infinite supply for a week, what would they be?
The book would be. Is one of those food?
One meal, yes.
I don't know. I go back and forth between like sushi or steak.
Yeah.
But then I always go, wouldn't you be tired of it?
What would you get the least tired of for a week? Sounds like soup.
That's true.
You got 4 days.
Yeah, I have to go with soup. But
My soup.
Your soup.
Yeah.
It sounds very Jewy though.
Well, like I said, you already got 4 days of it. So you're almost there. You almost accomplished the hypothetical.
The book, I don't know. I don't think one book would be this. I can't go back to the same book.
No. You mastered every one you've ever read.
I just think reading it for a week.
Yeah.
Oh, it had to be one that I didn't read the first time. Maybe one of those like 10,000 page books.
Yeah.
How about you? How's about you?
One movie, I'd probably go Stop Making Sense, because I just watched that the other night with my... Whenever things are shaky ground, I go back to that movie.
That's so cool.
And I watch it in the dark. I watch it in a dark room loud.
And it's cool?
And it just takes me over, yeah.
I recently saw him perform on some show. Maybe
Saturday Night Live he was on.
And was that how you saw him, with everybody playing their own instrument?
Yeah.
Unbelievably great.
Yeah, it was great.
I loved it so much.
I think they're filming the Broadway show.
Because it got me thinking, was that what you had seen? It's like, oh, it's just, are they the only people making the music?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I loved it. I really did.
Yeah.
So I would go with David Byrne live performances for the rest of my life.
Well, it was fun, even watching Stop Making Sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's 35 years apart or something, those two things, but there's a lot linking them together too.
It's Jonathan Demme, right?
Yeah. There's definitely stuff from Stop Making Sense that's still alive in his performances now.
Wow, and I love that movie myself, but I don't remember it.
It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's worth just kind of giving yourself over to.
I'm mixing it up though. Isn't there one where there's where he does country songs, or isn't there a musical one?
Well, there's True Stories.
Yeah, I don't remember that much from that.
That was a different thing. That was a different thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't a concert.
No, I knew the concert. I remember Stop Making Sense because I think it's like one of my two favorites. That and The Last Waltz.
Yeah, also on Amazon right now.
Ooh. Oh.
So I would go with Stop Making Sense just because it's fresh in my head and I know that it's rewatchable.
Yeah.
One song, I don't know, I guess something not Talking Heads. I would go with, it's just a week. Let's go Tempted by Squeeze.
That's not a bad song if you had to listen to one over and over.
One book, I'm going to go with the Keith Richards book because I'm in the middle of it.
Good.
I might as well finish it that week. And one meal for a week. Let's go barbecue platter.
I think barbecue platter would be good. You know what? If I was pushed, I'd say coq au vin.
Really?
I love chicken and wine. I love French food. Something's wrong with me. Ignore that part.
That was a fruity take. Natri Pahara is back to say, Andy, you sent me a really kind DM after my mother passed away a while back. Please know that we are thinking of you. You bring lots of joy into this world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I really appreciate that. And I keep thinking I'm going to break down soon. But it's just ridiculous to try and predict grieving, as Josh well knows.
Yeah, it comes in weird waves.
Don't judge your grieving is a good idea.
Right. Shiftless Element.
Thank you.
Shiftless Element says, have you guys hoarded any favorite snacks? Love in the time of cholera. More like love in the time of caloric intake. Am I right, people? You know what I'm talking about.
This guy does. I haven't hoarded anything. I haven't hoarded anything. I just got saltines today.
Yeah.
And we did buy like rice and maybe some beans. We did buy some canned goods, but certainly not enough to give anybody nearby us any.
No, I was very purposeful about not hoarding snacks because I knew I'd go straight for the snacks. Like, it's just too much boredom eating possibilities. So I was very literally purposeful of like, I don't need to buy a bunch of shit. I'm just going to buy stuff so we have meals and I don't have to go to the store that often,
And how far out did you buy for meals?
I haven't been to the store since Friday when I went for the soup. So
I'm starting to get out of milk, and now I'm thinking they'll get restocked. Right?
Of course, yeah. And I've never, I actually have, I'm on record not worrying about, like I could, I knew they were just cleaning out the store. I didn't think they were cleaning out the supply.
That's true.
It's not like the roads are out. This wasn't an earthquake.
It's weird that
the supply chain is still intact. It's just people are ripping. They can't restock.
Because it's just so weird that people would think toilet paper. I don't understand why toilet paper would be.
Well, because you don't want to be without it.
Okay. You certainly, once again, was able to elucidate something for me.
That's apparently someone's. What I did find out is that people with celiac disease are much slower at hoarding, apparently, because all the gluten-free shit was still there.
Is that true?
Yes.
Or maybe there's just not as many people who have it.
I know, I was kidding.
Why can't I just allow you to joke?
Saying there's a lot more people gluten-free than need to be. Dan Wade says, love you guys. Listening to old episodes has been therapeutic in the time of alternating boredom and terror. In that vein, is there any album you listen to on repeat after 9/11 to help cope? No, but Stop Making Sense was another time where the DVD went in.
That makes sense.
So
Get it?
It's also an album. So
I don't know.
But one of the things that was cool, because I know the album so fucking well too, is listening to the different mix that's in the movie versus the album.
Oh,
you can really in the movie they're pointing out a lot of you hear a lot of individual things poking out just because that's where the camera is pointing.
Oh.
So they're sort of mixed. A lot of those things they would mix front, so you can kind of.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that far as to how you characterize it. I mean, I do go back to classics like Tumbleweed Connection and After the Gold Rush, and I do have a hankering to go back to like my anchor albums sometimes.
Right. I posted today I posted 5 movies that have always made me feel better.
And what are those?
They were Broadcast News.
Yeah.
My Favorite Year. Harold and Maude.
Oh, yeah.
Stop Making Sense. And the Blues Brothers.
Wow.
Those are ones that since I was a young preteen, that have always been there for me.
I'd say Modern Romance.
Yeah.
Would be the movie I go back to all the time. But I can't. It's so hard to construct a list because if I add Woody Allen movies,
it wasn't the only 5 movies. It's just 5 movies that are always there for me. Television Savalas says, "Hey guys, the question everybody's asking is, what if Abbott and Costello played the parts of Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson in Quarantine? Seems like a year ago when Mehdi Hassan called Andy a dolt, but he's a mensch, and I hope his family is doing well at this time."
Well, thank you so much. It almost seems like he was hearing what we were talking about.
It's almost like that.
Yeah. He called me adult? I'm pretty smart. That's what I think. No, you're not. I mean, it's my father from the grave.
Thank you, Mr. Kindler.
Thank you, Mr. Kindler. Oh, thank you anyway for those. It cheered me.
I'm not going to eat the Vegemite. Eat the Vegemite. I'm not going to eat the Vegemite. Eat the Vegemite.
I'm not going to get a coronavirus test.
Lou, you have to get the test.
I'm not getting the test.
No.
I got the test.
I heard they have to stick the swab in your
Pretty
nose.
damn, yeah. Close.
That's fucked up.
Right up the brain, yeah.
Why don't they just... That's why they're not testing people.
Right.
What if you had that relationship with me? Every fucking stupid thing. Right, you're right. Yeah, you got it again, Andy.
Good point.
How do you do it so much?
Dan Marsh says, hey boys, you both play instruments and sing, but what about the visual arts? Do either of you draw or paint or maybe even sculpt?
I watercolor and draw.
I don't do any ongoing visual art stuff, but in my life I've been in painting phases and drawing phases, but the closest thing to that really is editing now for me, I think.
I wish that I did it more, but I was really into watercoloring for a while, and I still love everything. So I could see going back to that a lot. Maybe.
Commish G says, like everyone, I stayed home and watched movies all weekend. I finally saw The Boys from Brazil. I've never laughed so hard as when James Mason said, your operation is canceled. And Gregory Peck answered, no, your operation is canceled. Thanks for that.
It's a winner.
Dan Marsh says, I don't think I've heard either of you mention playing a video game. Have they ever been an interest? Maybe back in the arcade days? Well, for me, yeah, totally. I mean, I am of the video game generation completely. I had an Atari and a Television. I was constantly hitting my parents up for quarters. And then I had a Sega, and I have an Xbox now, but I can't bring myself to play it very often because hours disappear.
But you still, if you do it,
I still enjoy it. Yeah, I still can get very into it, but it's a time management thing, and I've just gotten out of the habit of it.
Is it a time management thing where, like, when you get into it, you do feel like you get into it too much, and then it's not as fun?
No, it's just I suddenly get a work ethic.
Right, yeah.
And like 8 hours can go by,
Wow. I never have had that. I've had social networking problems, and I never got into video games.
Yeah, no, there's some amazing, great ones.
I know that. I know, like, I'm wrong.
Probably during this quarantine phase. I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 about a year ago, and I was in the middle of a project, so I didn't want to start it then. And I never really have. I played the first half hour or something of it. And then I went, oh shit, I got to get my work done. And then I never went back. So maybe during this quarantine I'll revisit that.
Did you ever do like the Madden games or the football?
Yeah, I like sports games because they end.
Right.
That used to be my thing, as I would play mostly like basketball or golf or some shit like that, where it was like it would end and then I could go back to work.
Yeah. I thought I had another question, a follow-up question about that.
The thing I play now is there's a really good virtual pool game I play on my laptop sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know why I have trouble, but poker I like because of the gambling part, but I have trouble with games in general. I did love pinball for a while.
Yeah. I like pinball, I like pool, I like a lot of those things.
Pool, I wonder, sometimes I ask myself, why don't I like bowling or pool more? And then I say to myself, why do you ask yourself such boring questions? It's like, I think you have to want to learn how to get better at pool.
That's the one, actually, having a pool table is like the one adult ambition I haven't fulfilled.
You still would love?
I could get one.
Yeah.
But I know, it's
you can see
if I don't pull the trigger if I can see the future.
That's true. Yeah.
And I know that it would be fun. I would, I'd have a couple of months of probably pretty intense usage, but then I would drift away. I'm pretty proud of myself that when I do buy something big and stupid,
you get into it.
I use it.
Yeah. Right. Whereas I made a lot of purchases like, if I get a 4-track cassette recorder, I'll make more demos.
Right. No, it's just going to sit there and mock you.
Yes.
You haven't made any music at all.
Yeah, it's like, if you aren't sitting there playing guitar, you're not going to use a 4-track.
Yeah. But I always thought the gizmo
would inspire you. Yeah, no, and I've done that, but as I've learned as I've grown.
It wasn't like like music I was into for so many years. Okay, like the perfect example of something that did not work was I got my violin refurbished, and then I just realized I hate this fucking instrument. I just don't like it.
Right.
It hurts.
Right.
And it's not to jam like Vassal Clements or something. It's not worth it.
No, you're years away from being the violin player you would want to be.
Years away.
Years away.
A boring repetition.
I mean, that's how I feel with guitar a lot of the time.
Now,
Like
guitar I always
fucking
feel like
years away, but I can, there's some stuff I can do on guitar, but
I kind of like am comfortable with the fact that I'm more like a Bob Weir who likes to play rhythms and things like that.
yeah.
Not as good as Bob Weir, but
I'm a terrible electric player. That's my thing. I'm a good rhythm acoustic player, but I'm really a bad electric player. I just have too heavy a hand.
well, the thing about learning, like when I wanted to be a studio musician, was I would like to be able to express myself like Garcia was able to through leads and electric music. Yeah. Is that what they made Frankenstein with?
Yeah, I think actually.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum. You'll never get that time back. Yeah, some things are, but like, I'm not looking forward to it, but I am going to. My sister has a nylon string guitar, which I think I will now have. Mm-hmm. But one thing I am very much looking forward to is my sister had, when she was 16, she wrote some of the greatest songs I've ever heard, and she had the greatest voice in the world. And so I'm either going to try and find those tapes.
I had you guys perform together at the Stink to Soleil show that I did.
Wow.
So I heard her sing.
And you were also at the wedding.
Yes.
She sang at the wedding.
Yes.
So I
don't remember that as much as my thing, but.
So I think I'm going to do something with her music, and I'm not exactly sure too. But we have reel to reel. I'm going to look around. More information later. See, we're doing a more.
Watch this space.
Is that how Charles Nelson Riley used to say? We are going to do a memorial for her later on. Is what we're going to do.
Maggie, Mother of Mayhem, says, hi, guys. Can you two sing more? I love when you guys sing. I'm thinking like duet or something. Just anything, basically. You both have such beautiful voices.
I don't know. You're really getting me happy now. This is you. Did you arrange that? Because that's good. Oh.
Give me a note. No, an extended note. Hold it.
Dear Adeline.
Sweet Adeline.
Give me a note. Give me a bouncy C. I love that character.
Joe says, if you could only bludgeon one other grocery store shopper to death over an item during this pandemic madness, what item would it be? This is my local store. Bread aisle, no bread, no meat, no eggs, no milk, no vegetables, no frozen foods, no paper towels, no cleaning sups.
You know what I was thinking about?
And then there's a picture of, indeed, a very empty store.
Well, I was thinking, I was very worried about one woman this week when I saw the shelves of one of your friends who you met, and she's excited about one item, and what if that item is no longer there? She goes, like she does weekly, because she's excited about it. She gets there, the supermarket.
That's what I'm here for! Not a fucking thing!
You know what? I couldn't care if the shelves was bare as long as they have my cotton candy. Is it cotton candy grapes?
You can pry my cotton candy grapes from my cold dead hand! Joe also says, I wish Andy peaceful moments. The man is amazing and caring and growing before our eyes. Much love and respect for Andy and his family. You're lucky. Josh is such a valuable friend.
I know that every day.
Aren't you?
So don't rub it in. Don't rub it in. I'm very, very conscious
I'm
of that.
embarrassed I read that aloud now.
Except the only thing is that when you were driving away the other day, when you
After
did yell
you're
out,
talking.
"You owe me, you owe me, buddy." And then today you went, "You gonna get here on time tonight?" I did make you the soup.
You were late tonight. Well, let me guess. Traffic?
No, we were picking up the headstone. You feel bad now?
No. All right, I'm going to call it a show.
I think we should call it a show. I love you very much, and thank you for being there for me.
I love you too. I'm glad I could be. And I'm here for future shit too.
Me too.
I know it.
Moi
Thank you.
aussi.
Thank you. Merci. If you want to support our little endeavor here financially, go to buymeacoffee.com/thoughtspiral. If you want to just give us some nice moral support, go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star nice review. Some of you have been doing that. Thank you. My album Chunks is still out there streaming, just waiting for your solitudinal ears. And that's our show. We'll be back next week.
See you next week.
Please stay safe. Wash your hands. Love each other. What was that? That's
I
not
like
me.
that. A bientôt. I see you soon in French.
That's nice.
Okay.
I mean, it's not us, but
But still.
yeah, whatever.